already on, but
ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्ता नमोस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेषु भिग्गस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्म हृदय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, chapter number 2. This is continuation of commentary on verse number 9 and 10. So we've been reading about the name, its power, its influence, how it works on a person who chants, and then we read about the offenses, how they curtail one's progress in the path of devotion. And then we studied if one is having a teacher or guru, then what is his situation, and if one is performing devotion without having guru, what is the condition of such a person. So this is what we have studied. And now this little more commentary and remaining, we will complete that. So he says, Devatantar Bhaktanam Papa paradhayoho karminamiva vyavastha iti eke. So the question is, what about people who are worshipping the other devatas? They are not worshipping Krishna or Vishnu or any other form of Vishnu, but they are worshipping other devata, maybe Shiva or maybe Ganesh, very popular now. So what is their situation? So he says that they are dealt just like those who follow Karma Yoga as far as the sins and offenses are concerned. That means they are committing also the offense against the name, just as the people who follow Karma Yoga, they are committing offense because they consider it as secondary, or they may disregard. Sometimes some people in India, they follow the path which is called Panchopashana. They worship 5 deities of sun god, Ganesh, Durga, Shiva and Vishnu. So whenever they worship one, the others become secondary. So then Vishnu also becomes secondary to the other ones. So he says that they are similar to the karmis. This is the opinion of some. And Bhakti Devya Ashrayana Samanya Bhavat Tatopi Te Nyun Kakshayam Nivishta Iti Apare. And some people say that actually they are worse than Karma Yogis, because they do not regard devotion even in the normal sense. At least in Karma Yoga, they may take bhakti as secondary or as anga or part of Karma Yoga. But these people do not regard. And when we speak of bhakti, we mean bhakti to Vishnu. So they may not even consider that at all. They are just worshipping Ganesh. Ganesh is supreme or Shiva is supreme. So he says that they are even lower than, which means that they are even more offensive than the Karma Yogis. Yaduktam yepi anya devata bhakta yajante shraddhanvita tepi mameva kaunteya yajanti avidhi purvaka. As Krishna says that those who are worshipping other devatas, other deities, and worshipping with faith, they are also worshipping me only, but improperly, because that is not the real intent of the Shastra. So what is the situation? He says, Aham hi sarvyagyanam bhokta cha prabhureva cha na tu mam abhijananti tattvena taschavanti te. And those who are not knowing this, that I am the Supreme, I am the protector of all the yagyas, and I am the Lord and Master of everything. So he says they will fall down from the path of reality. So this is also known from the history we studied in the 4th canto, this whole dialogue between the followers of Lord Shiva and followers of Daksha. So there it is specifically said, in fact this curse was pronounced I think by Prabhu to the followers of Shiva, that those who will worship Shiva as Supreme will become Pashandi, which is more like atheistic. So that shows that if someone is disrespecting Vishnu or Krishna, then as Krishna says that they will go down. Tattvena tasyavanti. ये तु केवलम अपराधिन एव तेषाम नैव उद्धारः. And those who are purely offensive, they will never be uplifted. They have to suffer. So there are people who also are offensive to Krishna or Vishnu. So in India there are people like that. So he says that there is no scope for them. They have to remain in the material world and suffer, taking birth again and again. So as Krishna says this, Tanaham Dustaha Kruram Sansaresu Naradhaman Chipami Ajasram Nasubhan Asrusheva Yonisu. So he says these people who are envious of me and cruel by nature, they are the lowest of human beings. And I herald them into the Asuri Yoni, means complete materialistic people. So there are some so-called followers of Ravana and they call themselves a Dalit. Now there's a big movement of Dalits in India, so they are very much against Lord Ram. So he says that they are making sure for suffering. So Asurim Yoni Mapanna Mudha Janmani Janmani Mam Apraprega Konte Tato Yanti Adhavam Gati. So he says that such Asuric people, such materialistic people, they are born again and again, and having not attained me, they even go down, means become animals, not even get a human birth. So that is the situation of these people. If they are not offensive, then they will be uplifted sometime in future. But if they are offensive, then there is no hope for them. And yetu tesham api madhye kansadayas tesham kama dveshad bhayat snehad yatha bhaktya ishvare manah aveshya tadagham hitva bhavastad gatim gata. So then what about people like Kamsa? Kamsa was Krishna's maternal uncle when Krishna was here on earth. And he was also against Krishna. And he was trying to kill him. So he is obviously very offensive. So how is that he did not go to hell? And there are many other his associates. So his situation is special, that although he is offensive, but he was always thinking of Krishna. So he is a person who has two parts in it. One is that he is thinking of Krishna, but he is thinking unfavorably. So that unfavorable part, which means that he was trying to kill him, kill Krishna, that is the offensive part. But because his mind was very much absorbed in him, so that was purifying part. If you meditate on Krishna somehow or other, then that will purify. And therefore, because he died, of course, thinking of Krishna, and Krishna was right there, so his other part was cleaned, the offensive part. So therefore it is said that Gopya Kamat Bhayat Kanso Dveshat Chadyadayo Nripa Sambandhad Vishna Snehad Yuyam Bhaktya Vayam. That Kamsa, he was liberated because of Dvesha. He had Bhaya. Gopya Kamat Bhayat Kamsa, because he was always fearing Krishna, and because of fear he was always thinking of him. Because if you fear somebody, then just as when you love somebody, you naturally meditate, think that person. In the same way, when you fear someone, then your mind is always fixed on that object which is causing you fear. So that was the situation with Kamsa. So the important thing was that his mind was absorbed in thoughts of Krishna. And that is what uplifts one. Because devotees, they are also trying to fix their mind on Krishna. Of course, they are trying in a favorable way. So, no matter in what way one fixes the mind on Krishna, it purifies. So that of course does not mean that we should use the process of Kamsa, because that is not possible for us. It's not that one can start hating and become absorbed. So that is not a recommended path, but just to discuss here. So he says, Ityadi vachan balad bhagavad aveshe naiva nam aparad kshayan mukti riti kechit. So he says that because he was always thinking of Krishna, he became free from namaparad, or offense to the name. So now the question comes that why should he become free from the offense? He did not chant the name. Because the process is namaparad yukta nam namanyeva haranti agham. Avrishnanti prayuktani tani evarth karani cha. That if one wants to become free from the offenses to the name, then one should chant them non-stop. So he was not chanting, so how is that he became free? So he says that namani eva haranti aghamiti upalakshanam dhyanadi namati. That chanting the name is also indicative of meditating on him. And dhyanupam punyam eva aveshayati. And when you meditate on something again and again, that is called avesha, or absorption. So he was always thinking, therefore his mind was fixed. And just as chanting non-stop purifies, then meditating also purifies. So that's the reason that he became free from the offense. Krishna avataratve tad anaikantikam yatah kechid aveshrahitapi naraka banadi kauravadi sanyagata tad hasta marana prabhavat kechid darshan matrasya api prabhavat tam prapu iti purvatra eva uttamiti apare. So now he says that when Krishna was personally present, then there was a special grace, concession. It's like there is a sale and you reduce the price 40% off. So when Krishna was here physically, then there was a special concession. That even those people who were not absorbed in him like Kamsa, they also got liberated because they were just killed by him, like Narkasura, Banasura. By seeing him or being killed by him, although they were not meditating on him, like comes. And similarly, all the people who were present at the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and they were killed there, so they also saw Krishna and they got liberated, although they were not killed by him. And those people who were killed by Arjuna, they got liberated because they were seeing Krishna right in front of them. So this was their good fortune, that they were dying in the presence of God himself. So this was also one of the hidden reason why Krishna was driving the chariot. That he was standing in front, so everybody will see who is fighting with Arjuna. And then he's killed by Arjuna and he's seeing Krishna. So this was the process, or by seeing him they all got liberated. So he says that Tadhast maran prabhavat kechit darshan matrasya abhi prabhavat. Either these people, those who were killed by him, or those who just saw him on the battlefield, they all got purified. So this is the opinion. So this is the end of these two verses 9 and 10, where it was described that no matter what kind of a sin one has performed, Stena Surapo Mitrado Brahma Guru Talpala Stri Rajputri Gohanta Yecha Patikanota. All types of sinful people, the best way to become free from that is chanting the name of God, Nam Viharanam Vishnu, Yatastad Vishyamati, because it alerts the Lord, or it draws his attention towards the chant. So these are the two verses we read, this long commentary by Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So now he says, Na niskritayir uditayir brahmavadibhis tatha vishuddhyatya bhavan vratadibhi yatha harir nama padayir udharitais taduttam sloka gunopalambhakam. He says that a person is not purified in the same way as by chanting the names of the Lord, which are describing the qualities of the Lord. The other processes which have been prescribed by the Brahmavadis, or those who are following the path of prescribed by Brahma, Smriti Shastras. So he says that those things do not purify in the same way as the chanting purifies. So he says, Sarva Mahapataka Prayaschittve api Namnaha Parama Vaishishyamahu. So there are various types of atonements, Prayaschitta, which are described in the scriptures. Various types of vratas, fasts, or some charities, the chanting of some prayers, doing some yagyas. So many things are prescribed. So he says that the best is the name of the Lord. So this is being described here in 2 verses 11 and 12. Brahmavadibhir Manvadibhir. So Brahmavadi here, he says it refers to people like Manu, etc. Manu is the one who wrote Manu Smriti. He says that the process which they give is not so powerful as the name. Nam padahi sanketyadina namnas chinna matre. So Nama, he is explaining the word Namapada. Instead of just saying the Nam, he says Namapada. Pada means a word. It is just the word which represents the name. Which means that even if that word is used for something else, as in case of Ajamila, his son was named as Narayana. So he was not chanting the name of God, he was just calling his son. And even that purified him. So that's what Namapada signifies here. Sanketya means some symbol. You can also make symbols for something else. You can give name Narayana to some particular object. Like you can call your computer as Narayana. So that is a symbol for your computer. Namnaschin matrai yadva Narayanadi namna ekena api padena subanta shabda matrena api bahutvam gaurvena arthapeksha api napekshitavyati bhava. Or he is saying that Narayana Pada, he signifies that even one word representing Narayana, this is enough. And plural here is used only out of respect. And Nampada only means that you don't even have to know the meaning of the name, because it is just having its own power in it. When one chants the other mantras, then one has to know the meaning and who is the Rasi and what is the Chanda and meter. So then it has influence, but the name is not depending on any of these things. So just like fire, whether you understand what fire is and how it is burnt and what it is composed of, or you don't understand, if you touch it, it will burn you. So name is like that. It is not depending on whether you know the meaning or you don't know the meaning. Udahiritair ucharitairapi manoniveshoapi napekshitaveti. And simply by reciting with your tongue, it has the effect even if your mind is not fixed on it. Aghavan karmi prabhritir bhinna eva papi iti ukta yuktya vyakhyam. So he says that the word Aghavan here, or one who has sinful person, it refers to somebody who is not a karmi. So just plain materialistic people performing sinful activities. Nacha naam samul papa nivritti matra eva upakshina mityahustan naam. And the prayashchittas, the atonements, they just remove the sin, they do not do anything more than that. Their power is only in making one free from the sin. But he says that the name is not like that its power is not exhausted in just removing the sin, one uses this, but it even gives something more, and that is Uttam Sloka Gunopalambhakam. Uttam Slokasya Gunan Ashvarya Madhuryadinapi Upalambhayati Premna Anubhavayati. That one will also come to realize the qualities of the Lord, His beauty, His sweetness, His Ashwarya, His majesty. So one can experience that through the name. That is the special characteristic. Nanu तपोव्रतादि महाकृच्छ्रै यद्यन महापातकं निवर्त्यते तम नाम्नः सुखोच्चारण मात्रेणैव कथं निवर्त्यताम् इत्याह तदिति. So he says, if someone raises that, how is it possible that one can become free from great sins like killing a brahmana or killing a cow just by repeating the name? Because to get rid of such sins, one has to perform heavy atonement. You have to take vows for years, fasting and doing certain rituals. So how is it possible that it is just removed by chanting, simply reciting this from your tongue, which is very easy and simple? So he says that is because Uttam Shlokasya Mahayasasvino Hares Tadeva Gunasya Prabhavasya Gyapakam. So he says because the name actually is informing that it has the power of Lord Hari or Krishna in it. So Parmeshwarasya iyamapi eka Parmeshwarta. That Lord has many lordliness in him, means powerful characteristics which make him Lord. So this is also one of his lordly quality, that his name has this power. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Nama Nama Kari Gauda Sarva Shakti Tatrarpita. So all the powers which are inherent in the Lord, they are also inherent in the name. And the name is powerful in itself. It is not that it has to borrow the powers from somewhere. When one performs the rituals which are prescribed in the Smriti Shastra, then the rituals do not have power in themselves. Power in them comes because they are injunctions of the Vedas, which is supposed to be the word of God. And because of the injunction, the power comes. Since you are trying to follow something which God has said, therefore it has power. Otherwise the activity does not have power in itself. But the name is inherently powerful. It's potent in itself. It's not depending on some injunction. Just because it is said that you should chant and then you chant, therefore the power is coming in it. So it's not because of some order. It's like some great person gives you order to do, then you get the power from that person. Some simple police person comes, then he is coming on the authority of the state government or police department, so he has the power because of that. Otherwise, if he is not a police person, what is his power? He is just any other ordinary person. So because he has been deputed by somebody, he is having that power of that department or state. So these injunctions of the Vedas have power like that. It's not their own power. But the name has its own potency in it. Every letter has power in it. So this is something which is very difficult to conceive. So that's why this has its influence, whether one chants it knowingly or unknowingly, with knowledge or without knowledge. Just power. Only thing is that when there are offenses committed against it, then that power becomes subdued or controlled or subverted. It does not become manifest. Otherwise, it's very powerful. So he says, Naikantikam tadhi krite viniskrite manah punardhavati chedasatpathe tatkarma nirharam adhipsita harer gunanuvada khalu sattva bhavana. So now he is contrasting these two, the name and the prashchitta, the atonements. So he says that atonements, they do not purify one completely. And therefore, if one engages in any of these atonement processes, prashchitta, then mind again runs to do the same thing. So like people go to the church and they confess. So by confession they become free, but then they do the same mistake again. And they go again to confess. So therefore he says that the prashchitta is not giving ultimate purity of the heart. But tat karma nirharam abhipsatam harer gunani vavekam sattva. But if one is desiring to become free from the sins performed and engages in reciting the qualities of Lord Hari, then that purifies a person, not only removes the sins but also purifies the heart, sattva. So therefore chanting is superior to the prashchitta atonement. Dvadas abdadi prashchittanam tato nikrishtvatvam ahu. So there are atonements which are performed for 12 years. So you know that chanting is superior to that. And this is what makes one very difficult to understand. If one is accustomed to doing rituals or coming from an ashrama system, then it becomes hard to put faith in the name, because they know that one has to do prashchitta for 12 years or do some big yajna. And then one is getting free from the sin. So how is that just by repeating some words one can become free? That's why they don't put faith in the name, and they consider all these statements about the name as arthavada, and just some false glorification. So many people think like that. So he says that is not real, that's not true, they are wrong. The prashchitta or atonement, even performed for 12 years, is inferior to chanting. And he gives the reasoning. Naikantikam natyanta shodakam. So because the atonement does not purify the heart. So it's, as I said, it's just like cutting the grass. You have weeds, you cut them, and after some time it comes up again, because the roots are there. So you have your lawn, you have to mow it every 2 weeks. So prashchitta is like mowing the lawn. You have to do it regularly. It does not remove it from the root. Or cutting the weeds, then they are again growing, again cut them. Tat prashchittam yasmin krite api asatpathe pap marge manodhavati. Therefore, after doing atonement, again people commit the same sinful activities. So they go on repeating it. Tasmat karmanam nirharam atyantikam nasham abhipsatam harer gunvade nam name gunanam api anvado anukatvam. Therefore, if one is desiring to get rid of the sinful activities or the karma completely, that it never comes up again, then the only solution is chanting the name, or here it is said, to repeat the qualities of the name or Lord Hari. So whether chant the name or chant his qualities. So anuvado anukathanam. Anuvada means repeating, which means kasyachin mukhashrutanam tesham paschat kathanam. That you hear it from somebody and then recite them or repeat them. Paschat sadrishya or anviti amar. So what is the outcome of that? Sattva bhavanaha vasnaya api naskatvat sattva. That it will clean the heart. So what does it mean, clean the heart? It means that it will remove all the vasanas, the subliminal desires to enjoy. So the power of the name is that it actually changes the consciousness of the person. Usually the consciousness in general of people is material consciousness, which means that the mind is always running towards matter. I want some material object, material relation, material position, material power. That's what we are desiring all the time. Our mind never thinks, I want God. This idea does not come in the mind. So this is the meaning of being bahirmukha, or our awareness turned away from God. So what name does is that it changes the consciousness towards God. Instead of desiring material objects, material things, material relations, you desire relationship with God. And therefore there is no more reason to commit sinful activities. We commit sinful activities only because of our material desires. We have some material desire, we cannot fulfill it in a legal way, then we fulfill it in an illegal way. So for that some punishment comes, some suffering. Because illegal way means that we are breaking some principles of the nature of the universe. The universe is running on certain fundamental principles. And one of the simple principles is that if you cause disturbance to anyone, then you will be disturbed. Simple. So if we, dharma means that you do activities or you will fulfill your desires without causing disturbance. Although we are always causing disturbance, but certain things which are within the limit. So then you do not have to get a reaction for that. And adharma, what we call sin, is that you are causing disturbance. And we call disturbance to other living beings, human beings, to nature. Then it comes back to you. And this is only because we have the desire, material desire, to get some pleasure, material pleasure. So that's why Krishna says that all these pleasures which come from sense contacts, they are ending up in suffering, they make you suffer later on. So this is how it works. Mostly we do not relate that suffering which is coming, we do not relate it to something we did in the past because of time gap. And therefore we continue. So if you could understand this and relate, maybe then we will be careful, because it's going to, what you are calling as enjoyment is actually suffering. But we don't realize this fact. We have some pleasure now and the pain is coming later on. So of course the solution is to become God conscious. And that happens only by bhakti and especially by chanting the name. So that is the power of name. So name has got the power because it's God Himself, it is His internal potency that it twists your mind. That is called Sattva Bhavana or purification of the heart. That is the meaning of Chetanarpan Bhavana. So Prayaschitta does not do that. If you go and confess your sins in front of the priest, that does not uplift your consciousness. You remain the same person, you only feel a little light that okay, now I'm alright. But feeling light means that now you are ready to do it again. When you are feeling heavy, you may not do it. Now you feel relieved, so you do it again. So that's how the karma is working. So it is only the name of God which makes you free from this cycle. So this is the beauty of Bhagavatam, that this is explaining this principle which is not explained anywhere else. And especially so clearly, even if it is mentioned in other places, not so clear. So it says that tat karma nirharam abhipsatam harer gunavan khalu sattva. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is the one who highlighted this fact of Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam was there before, many commentaries were also written, but nobody highlighted this. In Bhagavatam now, if you read, everywhere it is written about Hare Nama Kirtanam, from beginning to end. The last verse of Bhagavatam is all about Kirtan. So it was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said that this is the Yoga Dharma, everybody has to do this. So that's why he is accepted as God. So Krishna Varnam Tasha Krishnam Sangopamasta Parsamai Yiggai Sankirtana Praya Yajanti Sumedasa. Said that the avatar for Kali Yuga is one who will say that do now Yagya, Kirtan Yagya, Sankirtan Yagya. So that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Sattva Bhavana Vasnaya Naskatvat Sattva Sodhika. So the Vasana, because human being is guided by the Vasanas, these hidden desires inside, their tendencies, so they become manifest in the mind. And once the desire comes in the mind, then you want to fulfill it. That's how we are working. Nanu manah punar dhavate iti praschittanantaram punah papkaranam katham nindate tasyapi sanskaradhinatvat utkhat danstra urgadansa sadrishatvam asmabhir vyakhayam iti chet bhrantastha. So somebody is raising a doubt on this, because earlier a doubt was raised about Ajamila. That Ajamila, it was said that he, in the commentary, Vishwanath Chakravarti explained that he became free from sin the very first time he chanted the name Narayana. So the question was asked that if he became free very first time he chanted the name Narayana, then how come he is still engaged in sinful activities? Because all his life he was doing that. So then he said that he was liberated, but it was just his vasanas from the past which were making him act like that, but these vasanas were not harming him anymore. Although he was performing sinful activity, but he was not under their control because he was already liberated, and it was just like a snake with fangs removed. So no more poison. Which means that these sinful activities which he committed afterwards were not the cause for him to take another birth. So now these people say that we can also say the same thing. He says, this is very good answer you have given. He says that we do prashchitta, and by prashchitta we become free from sin. And we have vasanas, and because of those vasanas we do sin again. But these sins have no influence on us because we are also like this snake without fangs. It's like Ajamila was doing. Ajamila was doing that. So why we cannot say that we are also in the same situation? So why are you criticizing us? That people do prashchitta, they do atonement, and again do commit sin, they do atonement, again committing sin. So Ajamila was saying, what is the difference? So he says, well, my dear fellow, you are confused. That's how I can say. He says, Bhranta hasta tatha vyakhyanam asmakam namna savasan pap naskatva pratipadaka vachnanurodhadeva natu sakapol kalpitam. He says that explanation which we gave, that his sinful actions were not influencing him, we gave it on the basis of scriptural statement, not that we are imagining it. It is Shastra which says that chanting the name removes all sins. It is here so anywhere, and we have studied those statements. So he says, show me one statement like this from your prashchitta Shastra, that you do prashchitta and you are free from all sin and you become liberated. And there is no single statement. So what is the basis of you saying it? So therefore he says, Tatha vyakhyanam asmakam namna savasan pap naskatva pratipadak vachnanurodhadeva natu swakopol kalpitam bhavatam tu prashchitta shastre tadrish vachna bhavat. So he says that in the scriptures where atonements are prescribed, there is no such mention anywhere, even once, that by performing a particular atonement one becomes free from sin for life, and after that one can perform sin and he is not influenced by it or becomes liberated. But it is said about name like that. So karma marge hi arthavad janya pratyavaya se api ashravanat katham tatha vyakhyatum shakti riti pragivaktam. And it says that in your path on the karma marga, there is no statement that if these prashchitta etc. are considered as arthavad, then there will be offense. Arthavadas janya pratyavasya pasanat. So he says you cannot explain. He says about name there are two types of statements. Number one, there are very clear statements that by chanting the name of God one becomes free from all sins. We have read here in Bhagavatam, Sarvesham api Bhagavatam idam eva sanskrit. Nam vyaharanam Vishnu yatastad vishyamati. So this indeed is the best atonement. And then there are statements that you cannot consider such statements as false or exaggeration. So arthavad nam kalpana. But about prashchitta atonement, there are neither statements that one becomes free from all sins, nor there are statements that one should not consider them exaggeration, otherwise it is no offense. So therefore he says that you cannot explain in the same way as we have explained in relationship to the name. So this is the end of his comment, and I will stop. If there is any question.
Babaji, yesterday we were talking about the offenses, and this offense of using the name instead of the yagyas. So people people, instead of doing the yagya, they chant the holy name but that's an offense?
Yes. Because you are now using it for some material activity.
So you're using it for that benefit, to get that thing.
Yeah.
It's about the power of the name and the power of atonement. Atonement, we say that also in the Shastra is written about atonement, huh?
Yes.
So this is not uprooting basically the root of the very, very cause of the sin.
Yes.
It's kind of in the
It's only cutting a little bit from the top. The root is there. And it comes up again.
the power of the atonement of the root.
Yes.
Maharaj was telling somebody just recently, unless you surrender to Guru, the name is also no power. What does that mean?
Yeah, well, yesterday, you were not there yesterday?
Yesterdday?
Yesterday's class, this point came.
Yeah.
Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur writes this. Though if you know that name is very powerful and name removes all sins, but also it is said that you should have Guru. And if you don't have Guru, you don't surrender, then you are also committing an offense to the name by that. Guru Ravinda.
So, but this is not applicable to somebody has no Guru, the potency of the name?
No, it is applicable, but if the person does not know anything of the offenses and all these rules, then it is applicable. But if one knows this, then the name is thinking that this guy is cheating me. So then it does not become influencing. It's not that name does not have the power. He discussed earlier in this point that suppose there is a person and he has some dependent under him. Person is rich, powerful, and which means that he is capable of maintaining these people who are under him. But if some of these people are not well behaving and are being disobedient and being offensive, then he may not maintain them. That does not mean that he has lost the power to maintain them. It's that he is displeased with them. So in the same way, name has the power in it, and it can protect you. But if you displease the name, then he doesn't want to protect you or take care of you. And depending on up to what extent you cause the displeasure, up to that extent, he will not take care of you. But if you please him again, then he will again take care of you. So in the same way, those who know the name, they are chanting the name, but they don't want to accept Guru, because they say, why shall I surrender to somebody? Name is all powerful. And there are also statements that name gives its effect even without Diksha.
So it's a package deal.
So then name considers that the person is being clever.
Okay.
I remember there's this statement, I think, is it in Padma Purana or somewhere, that one name of Rama is as powerful as 1,000 names of Vishnu, and one name of Krishna is as powerful as 3 names of Ram, something like that. How does this... now if I think I better chant Krishna because then I get more power, this has more power than the names of Ram or the names of Vishnu, that's offensive, right? So why this statement is there then?
Well, the statements are there to show the relative status of Krishna and Ram. And you know that Krishna is Swam Bhagavan and Ram is a manifestation of it. So although Ram and Krishna are not different, but at the same time Ram has some less manifestation of power in him. So we don't disregard. Actually, you are not chanting Ram and you are not chanting Krishna, when you are saying Hare Ram, that is also Krishna's name. So then it has the same power.
What about the names of Vishnu?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you, the point is that when you chant, and when we are talking about Guru, you chant what Guru gives. It's not. So the whole thing is that Shastra is there, but you have to understand Shastra, how it has to be applied in your own life. Otherwise, Shastra is a big ocean and you can get totally confused in it. So you follow Guru, what he gives. And these things are to be also studied from Guru. This is ultimately to understand that there is only one reality. Vadanti tattvadas tattvam is jnanam advayam. So that one reality is manifest. So when it is said 1,000 name is equal to Ram and 3 Ram is equal to Krishna, it is just to show that Krishna is the supreme God, the principle. In Bhagavatam it is stated clearly, there it is said indirectly.
So when it is mentioned that the chanting of the name or the chanting of the qualities of the Lord, I think this was the statement. That means kirtan, it means reciting Bhagavatam. What does that mean, chanting the qualities of the Lord? Is there, it includes all the whole scope of...
Yeah, he's describing his qualities, that he is compassionate, he is...
But that's a difference between Krishna Katha, speaking, Krishna Katha.
Yeah, describing quality specifically.
That's specific.
About his beauty, about his person, character.
So there can be songs.
Yeah, it can be songs about it. That's called Guna Kirtan. There is Nam Kirtan, Guna Kirtan, Leela Kirtan.